intrigueness, some of us who are new to this for the first time to this dialogue, and some who have continually joined and become allies. We've become allies together, and that's, interestingly, it's called an alliance, right? As I say that we're all independent and we're all dependent on each other. So that's something that's very dear to me. So we're all allies, and we're building more and more through these relationships we're all forming. You know, we share this independent investigation of truth, right? So the very first principle that, you know, is still foreign to some, it's something that we're all still going through this journey of what is it, and we try to deepen on that. Just a few things built into that is that, you know, we have this moment in history that we've come to, and we have a history that brought us here. So there's two parts of this dialogue, that we have this history that we're trying to figure out, how did we get here, you know, and where are we going? This vision, where are we going? This collective, you know, future of ours. So in independent investigation of truth, we leave entering this dialogue, and hopefully in all aspects of our life, these dogmas that we have, these superstitions that we have, and, you know, these traditions we have that brought us to this point today. Where did they come from? How did they come about? You know, all these injustices, and there's history we have too, right? So there's both parts, but how did we get here? And then that system and framework, that vision that we have, we want to go forward, and we're hopefully going to do this collectively. And it's an organic process, right? So we're learning from it, just as the dialogue has changed over the years. And everyone's included. Everybody has a voice. Everybody should be seen and heard. Democrat, Republican, independent, agnostic, atheist, anyone, any religion, non-religion. We all have a story, right? So we're all part of this one book. So this is a theme that I always try to share, that we always try to promote, that we're all part of this one book, right? So we're all part of this one book. We're all, you know, different chapters in this one book. And the narrative that we have that has brought us here, we study that, we see how we got here, and we will create the narrative going forward. So we create this narrative going forward. What do we want it to be? You know, what are we putting into this book? What's going to be written in it that we're handing off to our future generations? So I can go further into that, but I know we want to, you know, we have short time tonight, but, you know, let's be reasonable. Let's use reason. Let's use this capacity that we have as individuals and this newfound technology, right? Two tools that I find very unique in the time that we're in for this horrific things that are taking place. We have ourselves and we have technology. Yet let's utilize them, right? Use reason. Let's be reasonable in our conversations and our thoughts and our actions. And then there's that other side, that action. From this dialogue, we should act. This dialogue takes place once a month. So throughout the day, tomorrow, as we would always say, the spirit that kept all of us coming back once a month was all the connections and relationships we made. It's been wonderful, and the spirit kept us together, all different views, experiences coming together, and really forming something and creating change. We have definitely created change, and it's going to be a process, but this is a safe place. As these gentlemen are going to share with us, Philip and Regis and Jason, they've taught me, right? So get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Get comfortable with the uncomfortable. They are going to deepen us on that, right? So again, I share, the last thing I'll say is, I'll continue to say, we are here for everybody in this community, educators, schools, administrators, small business, big business. We are allies. You know, we want to be called upon for service. That's what we would like to do. And we will also call on you to see how we can be of service. And that's what we have done. That's how we've made this great relationship long term. So with that said, I will continue saying these things every time and through any message I have and in conversations, but we are allies, and I'll hand it off to some great gentlemen here that I call brothers, and continue. So thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mike.
I hope you can hear me now.
Yes.
Yep.
Hey, Chris.
Loud and clear.
Yeah.
So we got Chris.
We got Chris.
Yeah.
That is a voice needed. Great to hear you, brother.
Thank you.
So I'll piggyback off a little bit. Like the mission is with Diversity Inclusion Alliance, our statement is to eliminate all prejudices and racism. We know it's an ongoing process. We know it's not going to take over, it's not going to happen overnight. It is a continual journey for all of us. It's just a continual journey for us to do a lot of self-reflection upon ourselves. So I use a lot of analogies. So I back up and say, when we were little kids, infants, toddlers, and as growing up, we didn't care what ethnicity or social economic background or what religion or what side of the train tracks or what part of town you were from. The only thing that we cared about was, hey, will you play with me? And that was important. Hey, you want to play this game? You want to play tag? And we run around and play with each other. It didn't matter to us. So as time progressed on, it was taught to us. What people would say, this is how I was raised. This is how, and we could substitute that, this is how I was taught. So our direction is to say, okay, like Mike said, here's a place, a safe place for us to go in more depth and go back to that and say, okay, where did it come throughout my life in which I made this change? And what can I do to, some people would say unlearn or learn to be as more, you could say, accepting instead of more, you could say, exclusive. So the thing of that, it will be, instead of us having our different groups, like here's our out groups and here's our in groups, that we all become one in group. Like Mike said earlier, that everyone has a story to tell, and stories are very powerful. People experiences are very powerful. And so when people share their experiences and stories and say, okay, this is where my trail come to, how I am today. All right. And this is why you could say, vote for this particular bill or law, or this is why I go in this or that direction. So it helps us to have an understanding. It's easy for us to go ahead and defend our own position instead of being active listeners and listening to the other perspective. And so the goal is to try to listen to the other perspective and understand. Are there going to be some times that we disagree? Absolutely. But if we grasp and have a better understanding, that brings that positive cohesiveness as oneness. So that means when I did the Facebook Live video, the three main things I talked about and said that, hey, education or learning, that means not us teaching other people, but for us to be the student and learn from others. Second would be hold ourselves accountable. That's not mean point the finger at another individual or group and point out all the flaws and baggage about them. It's about doing self-reflection about ourselves as well. And three is oneness. It's not about, hey, this is my own individual in group, but now for me to open and try to have more people of different backgrounds to be included as an in group. So this is the direction where we're going. So as time progresses on, when we have more of these workshops and stuff, we're going to dig deep. I will let you know, we're not going to go the tip of the iceberg. We're going to go deeper in the iceberg. It's going to make people feel uncomfortable. It's okay. I know some people going to have a hard time or challenge of being vulnerable, but being vulnerable, once a person open up and be vulnerable, it's kind of like a domino effect. And like I said, we're not here to judge or point the fingers at each other, but to say, hey, I appreciate you opening up. And now it can be a positive domino effect. And so in the community here in Dublin, or as well in the Tri-Valley, or even in the Bay Area, or even the state or nationwide, the goal is to say, as all of us coming together, and to learn how to be vulnerable and share each other's stories and say that we're here to support each other. So hope all of this makes sense to you. Does this make sense to all of you here? Okay. All right. So again, this is kind of the nucleus direction where we're going. And there's going to be times in which it comes down to maybe with action as far as what you can do in the community with your schools, or maybe with some policies, or maybe just, just to build positive relationship with our neighbors. So this is kind of the direction I like to go. All right. So that's enough for me. Like to pass it on, but I would love to hear, we would love to hear from you guys before I finish. That is what all of you would like to get from the Alliance. So we would love to hear what you guys would like to get from us as well. All right, I'm done.
Hey,
All right.
Regis, this is Phil. Sorry to cut you off, Jason, but I see a few faces I haven't seen before. So if it's okay with you guys, maybe we can do a quick introduction and just person can introduce himself, where they live, make it real simple. And I'll start out. Phil Tucker, I'm a Dublin resident, been here in Dublin since 2005.
All right, next person. I'm Regis. I've been in Dublin for 6 years now. Woo. So.
Hi, everyone. I'm David. I've lived in Dublin for 20 years, right around the corner from Phil Tucker.
To keep my lawn cut.
Watch out, or I'll point him again to the Parks and Rec Commission.
My name is Puri. I live in Dublin for 40 years.
Wow.
Mike.
All right, I'm Chris.
Okay.
I'm Chris.
Chris.
Oh, sorry, not dinner.
Chris.
I've been in Dublin since 2008.
Nice to meet you, Chris.
Thank you.
I'm Marjane, and this is my husband Amir. We lived in Dublin since 1998.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Hi, I'm Dawn, and I've lived in Dublin for 6 years. I live in Schaefer Ranch, and I'm happy to be here.
Nice to meet
Very
you.
glad to
Dawn.
have you here, Don.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm driving home still.
I'm Millie. Hey, nice to meet you all. I live in the Richmond area, which is the other end of the BART line, so I'm a bit of an intruder, but I'm here to learn from you all and excited to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We love Bayside people. We love Bayside people.
Nice.
Hi. First of all, I'm Michael's big sister.
Yeah.
Is
Oh, yeah.
someone trying to get online with you? Let's check on that first.
Oh,
Trying to call in.
yeah, they've tried a few times, huh?
It's not working.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll introduce myself then. I'm Michelle. I'm Mike's big sister, and have lived in Dublin. I won't say how many years, like my mom said, because I always think I'm always 21. So, yeah, we've been here a long, long time.
She got the hair in the family. Wish I don't know. Went to my face.
And so have my girls, but they're not here. I don't know. They're shy, but they'll come.
All right. Cool. Thank you.
Oh, one of them is waiting.
There's one now. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thanks.
We see the hair, but not the face.
Yeah.
Just rubbing it in for Mike, right?
Yeah, exactly.
With the hair.
Well, I'm Mike Cromie from Dublin. I've lived here as long as my family has, 40 years, 41 years even, maybe, let's say. So long time. Seeing this town go through a lot of changes have happened.
Didn't have a zip code.
Huh?
We didn't have a zip code.
Yeah, so completely different. They didn't know who we were. So I'll leave it with that, and I'm glad to be here with you guys. Thank you for the opportunity. So we'll keep it going.
Well, this is Jason.
Just a record. Okay.
I live in Oakland, but my office is in Pleasanton, right across at the Kaiser facility. And so I have been actually in the Dublin, Pleasanton area, living there and working there since 1997 before Kaiser was PeopleSoft. So that's how I know everyone a lot of the people on the call. Thanks.
You win the best background award, Jason.
Thank you, man. Got to live the dream.
Yeah. Look over that wave.
All right. Anyone else?
I think that's it.
I'm Chris Palmer. Lived in the San Ramon Valley for about 30 years until about a year and a half ago. Now I'm in Clayton, just visiting some old friends and want to support the work.
Thank you.
For the record, I'll cede the name Chris to you, Chris. You can call me Christopher. Make it keep us straight.
There we
go. All right, so you'll be Christopher. All right.
Yeah.
But I think I'm next, right, Regis? Mike?
Yes.
Yeah.
So hi everybody. So we've been. It's good to see everybody since I don't know when the last time we met. It's been a minute, and a lot has happened in this country and this world since we met last. I mean, significant things that we can all reflect on, and I think when we were planning this session and trying to restart where we left off, one word came clear to everyone is, what are we going to do in action? And I think some of the clear messaging that we had in consultation with a bunch of folks. And by the way, there's this type of gathering is happening all over the country and the world in terms of communities getting together to talk about what's happening in their own community and how people can take action, social action. I've been involved in social action in Oakland. I've been talking to people in Palo Alto, San Jose, Martinez. I mean, there's a lot of communities going through similar discussions. And, people are taking action in different ways and talking about it as a community. So when I tell the story about this gathering that's been going on for a number of years, everybody wants to learn from, what type of space this has been created in terms of the dialogue and how the conversations have led to where we are today. So one thing I did want to cover, because we've been working on it, is the mission statement. And we put together a draft of the mission statement. Can you see this?
I got it.
Yes.
Okay. So the mission statement gives a framework in terms of taking forward. This is a proposal, by the way. This is for the group to really rally around. I think Regis covered the sentiment, and Mike covered kind of the core credo, the core statement of what the dialogue is. And so we've proposed this as a diversity inclusion strategy framework. By the way, I'm also working with someone at Kaiser who actually leads the Kaiser diversity inclusion and equity framework for Kaiser nationally, globally, Dr. Ronald Copeland. He kind of mentored me on how to formulate a statement. And so I've socialized this with Regis, with Mike and some other people, but I wanted to present it to this group, and we'll send it out so that people have it in writing and can reflect on it. And one thing that became apparent, and there's a story that we should probably talk about, is that the city of Dublin changed their mission statement to include diversity and inclusion and a conversation about equity that maybe the mayor can speak to when we get a chance, and some of the other folks in Dublin. But that's a significant impact of what this alliance has brought to the city in terms of a conversation. And so taking that conversation now and putting it into a vision and into a mission statement gives it more structure and gives helps define where we left off, and then how do we operate and how do we drive the alliance forward. And so this is a draft. I think some of the sentiments of the vision we've already talked about in terms of a diverse set of people that are spiritually connected, learning and loving and living as one unified community. I know during the past 6-7 months, there's been a lot of people coming together in Dublin. I'm hearing stories about that, and in terms of other groups, formal groups, coming together and trying to bring action and bringing more unified community inside of Dublin. There's been discussions with the city council and the mayor, the police, etc. So there are a lot of community people focusing on coming together as a community. So the purpose of the Inclusion Alliance is to create a safe space and open to all. And this is really where I think, as the dialogue moves forward, we want all people to be part of this, and to create that safe space, and treat people with compassion and respect, and continue to forge the relationships of community that have been built towards unity. We have a lot of good stories, a lot of accomplishments, and I think we're taking those relationships and accomplishments and trying to drive it into action, so that we demonstrate in terms of deeds, not words, but deeds, how we can come together as a community. Okay, so here's the key mission points that Regis covered. We can talk about it. I'll just give just some background and some color to some of these. One thing that has come apparent, we discussed this with one community group, the Diversity Inclusion Project that is being led by Faith, and other organizations within Dublin that are trying to build capacity for action. And this is something that we talked about as forming as a way of building capacity within the community. And there are a lot of people who don't really know how to have conversations and talk about racism or heal from it. And there are skills and things that we've covered in the dialogue that we facilitated in the sessions, if you remember, over the few years, about how do you have that conversation, how do you then take that conversation and then act in the community and build capacity for action. So one thing that's come as a request to the Alliance is to help others build community in terms of learning on how to do it in terms of skills of addressing racism and eliminating prejudice. There's this actually is a national topic. If you hear Black Lives Matter, you hear a lot of movements within the country. There's this notion of a movement and building capacity for action, but a lot of people don't know how to do it. So coming together and formulating a way of building that capacity and actually providing training and services is what this learning and gaining experience is all about. Okay. Holding ourselves accountable. I think we talked about it, but there are some people in the community, and Mike and Regis can talk about, and others, that if we're talking about inclusion and alliance and equity, we have to demonstrate as individuals what that really means. And there are some actions and some steps that we can take to do that, to demonstrate toward the betterment of our community, that are very specific to community building, that goes into connection by individuals. And there are individuals in Dublin that feel isolated, for instance. And I'm over the past 7 months, because of the situation in the country, people's health and mental health and wellness. People are going through different tests and difficulties, and there's actionable things that we can do to hold ourselves accountable. When we say we're diverse, we're inclusive, and we provide some ways of equity that we can actually deliver that and demonstrate to that mission. So this one is a key one in terms of being able to measure, well, how are we doing on these types of impacts in the community? So that's another part of the vision. And then the last one, and then I can open it up to comments and we can talk about this more, is the pursue the oneness of mankind. I think actually the last conversation we had, and I think Christopher brought this up, and that was, well, how do you operate in a culture of oneness? How do you really demonstrate that in the community? What does oneness look like? How do you do it within a diverse community? How do you stay connected, and how do you actually demonstrate what does it look like to operate in the sense of oneness? And so we've talked about having events. We've talked about introducing the arts as part of that demonstration, and actually holding events inside of the city and create activities where the neighbors and community members can have cultural events and start to learn about each other, and learn how people address different topics, and how we can celebrate the oneness of mankind and the diversity that we have in the community. This allows people to know about the Alliance. It allows us to actually build and demonstrate action specifically toward impacting the betterment of the community of Dublin. So that's the mission statement introduction, and I'll open it up to the floor and have some comments.
Don't fight over the mic all at once.
Not all at once.
Okay, so I'll go first. This is Dawn. I love it. I love all of the action items. This is an area that's really important to me. And I'm really excited to see the work that's being done. A couple of things that stood out to me. So when you talked about the reflecting, how do we measure our progress? I think that's a really key point for us to hone in on, so that our actionable items can be measured and we can make sure that we're being effective. So I really like that you put that point in there. I also really like the artistic reflection throughout the community. That's something that I also think is very important, that I actually addressed with Dublin Elementary maybe like a year ago, because it's important for everyone to feel like they're a part of the city. And when you have reflection of everyone through art, you feel like you're a part of the community. And so I'm also really excited that you have that in your process. I also, the third thing, and then I'll let someone else chime in, is that I like that you address that sometimes people have a difficult time having these conversations. And I have been doing a lot of work in this area with diversity, inclusion, and equity, also at Kaiser. I'm a facilitator on race discussions. And I've also been kind of doing my own community work with conversations on race. And so I think the most important thing that I like to emphasize with people is it's okay to not say it right. It's okay. Sometimes people are nervous to speak up on race because they just don't know how to say it the right way. And I think it's important for us to emphasize it doesn't have to be said the right way. We just have to start the conversations. And I like actually when people do say it wrong, because it's an opportunity for us to learn. It's a teaching moment for both people involved. So I think this is a great work that you're doing, and I'm really excited to hear more about it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else?
Yeah, hi, this is Phil again. Hi, Don. Thanks for your comments. Very appropriate, and I like what you're doing. Appreciate everything you're doing. I want to tag on to what you said about measuring our progress. And, as I see it, and the mayor might want to weigh in on this a little bit as well. We've adopted this new enhanced version of Dublin's mission statement, which includes, equity, diversity, and inclusion. And I think that this group has an opportunity to embrace that and help celebrate that with the city. And when Don talked about the power of art and expression, so imagine walking into City Hall and seeing artwork that really reflects the diversity and the various cultures here in Dublin. Imagine walking into the police station and seeing artwork that represents the diversity and inclusion and the equity that we have here in Dublin. So I see this group basically as being able to promote this mission statement because it ties into everything that we're all about. And through these meetings and interaction, not only the dialogue about race, but displaying examples of citizens in our community that have done things and that are doing things that basically embrace all of the things that we have included in our mission statement. And I think if we can do those kinds of simple things, even think about the senior citizen and the message board that's on the senior citizen building here in Dublin. Imagine seeing our new mission statement being promoted in that venue. So I think there are various ways throughout the city visually where we can talk about our mission statement, we can promote inclusion, we can promote diversity. And I think the one thing, like I said, I've been here in Dublin since 2005, and I love the city. I love living in Dublin. Both of my young adults have bought homes here in Dublin. But it's a new city in many respects. A lot of new couples and young families have moved into Dublin. So we're still becoming a culture. We're still trying to figure out what that Dublin culture is all about. And I think this group can help promote that and reinforce it. So those are my thoughts.
Thank you for everyone who spoke already. I know it was awkward with a little bit of a pause in the beginning, and I fought myself off to jump in because I really wanted to hear other people. And so I don't want to take over the conversation in any way. I'm here more to listen. But as I'll jump in, I would say a couple of things. One, let's recognize and celebrate the progress that we have made. And I'm proud that 5 years ago, we gave our city manager a goal, a task, one of his goals and objectives for his annual performance, which is to increase diversity and inclusion in our staff. And that led to more people of color being hired. That led to more women being promoted. And we're better off as a city for it. And that was something that the city council drove and the city manager hit out of the park. So we did a really good job with it. And of course, since then, the city council has proclaimed that and adopted the Dublin is United Against Hate, a project born out of Oakland, but shamelessly stolen by myself from my friend, the mayor of Berkeley, is what started Berkeley. And so you see window posters, United Against Hate, Dublin is United Against Hate. You've seen things like at Dublin High School, one of the mayor's council students created Dubversity, and a program that teaches inclusion and celebrating diversity at Dublin High School in Dubversity. And you've seen just time and time again that Dublin is a welcoming, open community. And so we should feel proud about that, and we should carry that on with things like this group and like this mission statement, which is awesome. I would like to say that one other thing that we continue to do, and we just did it the other night, we approved the framework for a task force, and the task force is going to be very broad in scope. Part of the task force was born out of the recent social justice, the awareness to create more social justice, and to look at the data that we have, around arrests and use of force by our police department. But it was so much more than that. So our subcommittee that designed this task force said, let's just not stop at social justice. Let's look at inclusion. Let's look at equity and diversity. Let's look at what we put in our rec guide for the summer programs. Are they appealing to people of all races that live in Dublin? Is it reflective of our community? Let's look at our community events, the biggest of which, St. Patrick's Day and the annual Splatter event. Are we providing enough for everyone in those events? Let's look at the cultural events that we celebrate. Do we include everyone in those? And so this task force, which again, born out of the need for social justice improvements, but going even broader than that, let's get somebody or more than one from this group to apply and be recognized and appointed to that task force. And then let's really make an impact, make a difference. And then the other thing I would say is I love the hold ourselves accountable, hold us accountable, us electeds accountable, not in a bad, mean, ugly way, but just in a goal-setting, opportunistic, or what's the right word? Let's try to get to this. Let's raise the bar, and then with metrics or with other ways to say, yeah, we're getting closer, or celebrate the wins that we get along the way, but hold accountable by vision casting what it is that we want to see, and then always checking, are we getting there? And then the last thing I'll say before I shut up is I will say what Regis said in the beginning. One of the things he said was, we ain't never going to get there. It's going to take, it's going to take a long time. Wherever we get, we can keep going. This is something we have to remain vigilant at. And again, not in a bad way, but in a good way. We have to remain vigilant. We have to keep our eye on the prize. We have to keep going. I guess I would say, wouldn't it be great if one day we get there? But I'm going to tell you that it's one of these things I think that we're going to always keep evolving toward, and that's okay. But we can't ever give up. And so that's kind of my 2 cents on it. We're heading in the right direction. Keep up the good work. You have a friend in me to get this done. You have a friend in the whole council. Every one of the people that I serve with on the Dublin City Council. This is, I think, right up their alley So let's keep going. Let's make Dublin, I always say, a great place to live, work, and raise a family. Let's say a greater place, or a more inclusive place to live, work, and raise a family. So that's it. I'm done. I'll get off my soapbox now. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. So
I
question
just
to
ask
you,
you-
Mayor. Do you have a location at which, or the direction where people can apply?
Yeah, as soon as that comes, we just approved this the other night. As soon as that comes out, you guys will be the first to know about it. Check the website, of course. Keep posted on things that happen in the city. But indeed, the framework was approved the other night, and it'll probably be in the next 6 weeks. By the end of, maybe only 4 weeks. By the end of September, mid-October, the way it works is that the 2 subcommittee members of the council, which is Jean Josie, Sean Kumagai, they will be screening applications and making a recommendation to me, and then I will be making recommendations to the full council.
So is the
next 2 to
application
4
on
weeks.
the website already?
No, it's not. I don't. I mean, the other night, I don't think it's out there on the website yet. But I'll tell you, by the middle of next week, it will be. And there'll probably be ads in the paper. There'll probably be emails, tweets. I will make sure with an email to my city manager right now that that this group is included.
So are we able to apply as an alliance and, representatives would go, or we have to do it in
Just individuals? There'll be 9 people on the task force. They will be selected across the community. They will serve monthly, maybe even bi-weekly. They will be assisted by members of staff. So we're not just going to let people go off on their own and not have any real legitimacy. Members of our staff will be along with them the entire way, and they will probably meet for between 6 and 9 months. By the middle of next year, they will have specific recommendations set, solid, clear, definable recommendations. We recommend you do this to the city council. And of course, at that time, the city council may tweak it or pick some, not others, but very conclusive recommendations is what we're expecting to get by the middle of next year.
Okay. So my next question is, do we reach out to the 2 city council people?
Yeah, if you want to reach out to Gene and
up?
Sean, yeah, that would be a fine idea. Sure. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That'd be a good.
In 2 weeks.
You let them know that I told you to do it, and that might make sure you get on the list of recommended.
Okay.
9 people will be recommended. Yep.
Perfect.
Is there someone who's already going to be the head of the task force, or is that yet to be determined?
All of that is yet to be determined. I don't know that anyone will be the head. Staff will lead it. I think the 9 members will very likely be all sort of at the same, all members. And they will probably, I think they'll have a facilitator so if you were to say, is there a leader, probably be the staff person assigned to this and or the facilitator that we hire to lead discussions. Not necessarily a leader in a hierarchical standpoint, but a facilitator to drive the discussion.
Okay.
So
last thing, Mayor, there were a plan A and a plan B. You guys went for option B, is that correct?
B, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Good point. Yeah, you're already in the loop there. Right.
All right. Open the floor to anybody else.
Yeah, Star is a little bit late,
Oh,
but she'd like to say something.
Hi,
She's reading over the notes, right?
Yeah. I looked over them, and most of my teachers
Tell them who you are.
Yeah, my name is Startify, and I go to Wells Middle School, and most of my teachers collaborate with most of the things that I'm seeing on the screen right now.
That's great.
That's awesome to hear.
Who's your core teacher?
Miss Harris.
Oh, wow. She's Miss Lauren Harris?
Yes.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome.
She is.
She just lost her father, unfortunately, but I've known Lauren for almost 20 years.
Yeah, she's been through a lot.
I really like that you
tell her
shared
that Dublin Dave said hi. Will you tell her that? See if she knows, if she remembers me. I'm sure we'll see.
I'll tell her that.
Yeah.
I'll tell her that tomorrow.
Yeah.
I was going to say I really like that you shared that at the middle school level that this is being incorporated, because like I've heard multiple people say, this isn't going to happen overnight, but it's really imperative that this starts at the elementary and middle school level. And so one thing I would like to consider as a part of this alliance is that we figure out how to improve the educational curriculum or be some type of support system for that to happen, so that the curriculum is more reflective of all cultures. And that, and also like that we incorporate like cultural sensitivity training, implicit bias training. There's a lot of work that can be done. It has to start with the children because they're the next generation. And they are the ones where the change will really start to be seen. So I'm really happy that you shared about what's happening at school.
Hey guys, this is Millie. I just wanted to echo kind of what Don was sharing about the importance of education. I was reading over the mission statement, and it reminded me of this passage I had read recently about kind of the issues that America is going through right now. I mean, has been going through for hundreds of years. And just wanted to read this one sentence that really touched my heart, and I think relates to what we're talking about. It says, it's talking about basically racism as a profound deviation from the standard of true morality. And it says it cannot be rooted out by contest and conflict. It must be supplanted by the establishment of just relationships among individuals, communities, and institutions of society that will uplift all and will not designate anyone as other. And I feel like that's really what's happening with this alliance. Like, it's really changing the relationships among individuals, communities, and institutions in a way that really nobody is designated as other, and is kind of avoiding like paths of contest and conflict. And the next sentence in this paragraph says, the change required is not merely social and economic, it's above all moral and spiritual. And I think that's kind of where this idea of education that Don was talking about really comes in. Like, really, we have to work, especially I think with the younger generation, and change the relationships that we have among individuals and communities.
Thank you very much for sharing that.
Can I add one other thing that piggybacks to that? I know I said I would shut up, but I can't stop.
That happens a lot. That's why the dialogues would always go so long.
That's right. That's right. Hey,
not just you, but all of us. Yes.
Yeah.
You and Mike can be
we
cousins.
feed off each other, don't we? I think education is key, and so in our schools is perfect. But I also want to say adults need education. We need continuing education. We need to keep learning. And a year ago or 2 years ago, we had a film, Race Amity, and we put it at Dublin High in the Performing Arts Center. I think, you know, we sort of grooved a pathway, a process of making connections with the school district, getting space available to us. Let's use that pathway and have more education. Maybe instead now it's going to be on Zoom until we can get back together. But let's bring the community that type of education. And Mike, you send a lot of very interesting, almost historical type posts that I see are just really interesting. Let's bring that to the community. And I just want to say, and it may be a little sneaky way to sneak up on people, but I think the way to sell this to some people, or at least explain it to them or get them to understand it, is if you let people know that in it for them, then they're more likely to embrace it and say, well, yeah, that's great. If it's something that they perceive as, you know, you want to do to me, that's not going to be good. But do you know how much better off you will be when you learn more about the rest of the world, and how you're missing out if you don't know what it's like to experience somebody else's experience? You're not going to be as good as you could be, or you're missing out on something, or you will be better if you participate in these programs. And if we explain it that way to people, maybe, you know, maybe we trick them into joining.
That's very good.
And they'll jump in and they'll love it.
Yeah.
So pointing out to what's in it for them may be a way to get people to participate and grow the group and bring people in. So just a thought on that.
Yeah, that was very good, David. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to take that.
Yep. It's just like this, a great analogy. And you gain more by learning by having, can speak more than one language than you do just one language.
Yeah, good one.
Okay. Are there any other comments or questions that anyone have? Getting close to wrapping up.
I would just mention one word that I think is important to get people to join: fun. We need to, I think, try to do things that will be fun for people.
Yeah.
For me, it doesn't. I'm easily amused, but yeah, but it might take more creativity.
Is that why you always have a smile on your face, Chris? You're all easily amused.
Yeah.
Smile, okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I also wanted to just throw out there that when David was talking about the events in the city and how it's like the St. Patrick's Day event and something else, I like that you guys have acknowledged that some of the city events are not necessarily inclusive. And so I think it's a great idea for for us to celebrate different cultures in the city, like you guys had mentioned. But maybe something to think about as we start off is like maybe one large like city festival, instead of doing each culture. I mean, in the perfect world, and once things ramp up, I think it would be awesome every month to do a different culture. But that would take a lot of work and planning. But something that would be doable very quickly would be like one event where all cultures are celebrated together, and you could have education tables and make it fun and have different cultural groups do dances, or just there's so many things that can be done, but like a celebration of everyone, that would be amazing and reflective of your theme of oneness. So
yeah, great idea.
Yep.
All right.
Just to
So,
add to what Don said, sorry, now I'm going on. But yeah, just the oneness, right? I mean, we're so alike. We're so the same. So, yes. Yes, Don. Yes, to celebrate the oneness.
Yep.
we all love food. I can tell you that.
Yes. All different kinds of food. It could be amazing.
Yes. Food brings people together.
Yeah. And the interesting part is, even with some foods being unique, some find in their journeys, in their palates, that there are very similar foods with slight variations from completely different areas. So
absolutely,
that is something, when the word wow comes to mind when that happens to them. I've seen it and they're just, wow, really? We have that, but it's a different name. It's like, wow, so that's that oneness. And so very interesting. So great story. Yeah. So these are the simple things, right? These are the simple conversations, the dialogues. And then, we have the other side that aligned with it, is putting in the work. But even those actions, and that comes to mind, that I always share, is this conversation is work. This is action. My own thoughts are action. We all have, in our own capacities and journey, in our own ways, right? So that is a respectful part, is that we all have something to contribute, to just listen, to hear, right? Once we've listened, and to share, or not, right? But we all gain. We will all definitely gain from it. And the actions coming tomorrow, and the feelings from this meeting, as they always did, will be like hearing new music. So that's something I always compare it to, right? So definitely, we're tuned into a station that is providing something that is very uplifting, and it's getting that feeling that we're uplifted about across to everybody. And when you want something that bad, you will start seeing it. When you want something that bad, you will feel it, and you will make others around you feel it. So I will share that, just as everybody else knows. I should stop talking, but it's the passion that you have for whatever, yourself, your life, your job, your career, your faith, whatever it is, your neighbors, your family. It will resonate with people. It really will. And that is what has helped this group and kept us together, and built the people who have been drawn in, whether it's Dawn or anyone new, or the mayor who's been contributing, and Regis, who, again, not by chance, right? It's just not by chance anymore. Just, I tell myself all the time that it's the confirmations we get, it's the conviction I have. And I will repeat this every day to myself and others, as you all know. Everything I say, I will repeat. So and it's that important. We repeat a lot of things, we investigate a lot of things, and I think these are just certain things that are just crucial to put in the work every day. As we wake up and go to work every day, and we go and educate ourselves on certain things, this will be in addition to that, right? So, okay. That's it for now until next time, and then I could share some more maybe.
Bye, guys.
All right. So, anybody else have any last things or?
Mike, you want to talk?
You planning to have?
Oh, good.
You planning to have a meeting of this group on a monthly basis? We're going to shoot for that, Mike.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Yes. Yes.
Of course, we're praying for being able to get together in person again, because this is nice, but it's not nearly as good. Right?
So that I wanted to do a pitch, sorry to interrupt, and see if you guys want to do it monthly or do you want to do it twice a week, bi-weekly?
Twice a month, you mean? Twice a month.
Twice
a
month,
week
sorry.
would be a bit much, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a little bit.
Twice
So my apologies. So how about twice a month? Or do you want to do it once a month? How do everybody feel?
I could do it twice a month, yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot to talk about. I actually had some things in mind, but didn't have time. So, yeah.
You guys think it?
So,
Yeah. You guys want to think about it, or yeah, if you guys want to decide tonight, or we can communicate with each other.
I vote for twice a month if you feel you can do it.
Okay.
Anyone else?
If not, we'll sell for once.
Okay. What do you think?
Mike, this is Phil. Let me get back to you.
Okay.
I'm like
okay,
zoomed out basically, but
right.
But I don't
Okay.
want to hinder anything that the group wants to do. I can certainly commit to once a month. Honestly, I don't know if I can commit to twice a month.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of meetings going on. Respectfully,
Once a
definitely.
month for us,
Okay.
because she has homeschooling and so do I.
Maybe in lieu of twice a month, you could extend it for an hour and a half so that everyone has enough time to share.
Oh, Dawn, believe me, we shut down the Civic Center. Believe me. I think the friends will remember. Yeah, we were a fixture there. We arrived there, and yeah, they couldn't get rid of us by the time the night was over. Let's put it that way. So that hour and a half really works.
What might be helpful if the decision is once a month, prior to the actual meeting, we can put together an agenda, and maybe prior to that agenda, if there's any community members that have a particular topic they want to talk about or touch on or discuss, they could send that in, and then it could be included in the agenda.
Good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I'm going to sign off now. I have to run to another meeting, but great catching up. Great meeting.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Our city manager, I sent an email. You guys, to the email here, Diversity Inclusion Alliance @gmail. You should make sure that the city manager already knows to keep you in the loop on the application process.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we got your email.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Nice meeting everyone.
Good night.
Good
All
night.
right. Good night. And
Bye.
Jason, did you want to say something? You were going to say something?
Well, I was just saying next steps, the mission statement will go out. It'll be posted on the website.
Okay.
It's not the website, the
Facebook page.
Facebook group.
Okay.
And it'll go out via email, right, Mike? So we can.
Yeah, we'll get that.
All right, cool.
We will definitely
Very
do
good.
that. All right, everybody.
Very good.
Thank you for
Okay.
your time, and appreciate it.
Thank you.
See you guys later.
All right. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Thank you
All right.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Don. Nice seeing you.
You too.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye, Jason. You are not your
Bye,
family.
everybody.
Bye. Bye, Jason. Love you.
Love you too. Take care.
Thank you.
Good meeting, huh, Reach? That was a good meeting, bro.
Yep.
Good session. All right, man. Talk to you later.
All right.
Okay.